Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Vanilla Minecraft, and it's pretty interesting that just a couple weeks ago we started out on a coral reef build, and, well, now we know that there's an ocean update coming. Really excited for that, and if you don't know what I'm referring to, if you missed out on Minecon Earth and you missed out on the video I uploaded kind of covering some of the stuff they discussed, they announced that 1.14, the version after the upcoming technical update, is going to be an ocean update. They refer to it as Update Aquatic, specifically, and it looks absolutely amazing. Probably the most excited I've been for an update in a long time. So, if you did miss out on all of that stuff, I'd really recommend checking that out, which is why I headed over here first. Wanted to make sure that everyone knows that's coming, because it is very, very cool. So, this project is probably going to be on hiatus for a while as a result of that, unfortunately. As much as I do want to continue on it, we're going to have so much more that we can do with it once that update comes out that I don't really want to try and get it any further yet. So, it's going to be a while before we see our coral reef again, I think, which is a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. Today, though, I think there's a few different things I want to take care of. First things first, I want to get rid of these spiders that Nap has gifted us to make our island a little more lively. Yeah, they've been here for a while. Halloween is long past, and the creepy spiders crawling around is not ideal. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these guys, and then I think we're going to go give a little gift of our own. Okay, so we're fast approaching Nap's portal. At least I think it's Nap's portal. No one on my server ever labels anything, but I'm pretty sure that this is the tunnel he dug out for it. And we're coming over here because Nap has been out to our island twice now to help us with the project, right? He's helped us liven things up a little bit. The first time he came out there, he put some guardians in our mushroom biome river, and the second time, quite obviously, you'll remember, he built some giant spiders for us. Of course, it's the middle of the night, and he has an unlit desert. This is going to be fun. So, as I was saying, he's come out to our island and given us cool things to add to it. He's added life to our project, and that is so cool of him, right? But then I was thinking about it, and Nap's own project that he started here, which is a really cool project, by the way, this giant pyramid here is just the centerpiece. He's going to start doing like a huge landscaping project around it, and then there's going to be a lot of other stuff that goes along the outside. So once this is done, it should look pretty awesome. Nap, why do you live in such a place? This is terrible. So yeah, really cool project. But as you can see, other than the hostile mobs, there's not a lot of life here. It's a very, very desolate place. And given that he's tried to help us out with life on our island a couple times, I think it's only fair that we try and do the same for him. Now, I was trying to think about what we could do out here, and, we could do like a camel or something, but that's hardly original or fun. And then I realized that here in the good old US of A, where both Nap and myself live, it's only a few days before Thanksgiving. And, well, that gives me a little bit of an idea. So, I think we've done a good thing here today. You know, Nap came out to our island, and he gave us guardians and giant spiders, and he was trying to make the island feel like a more lively and interesting place. All the while, his base was so barren and desolate, and really in need of something more. And that was really nice of him that he kind of took his time to help us instead of helping himself, and I wanted to return that favor. So, I think we've done that here today. I think that this is a satisfactory kind of an equivalent exchange for what he's given us, right? And now, the turkeys themselves are a little bit strange looking. They're probably a little closer to weird ducks than they are actual turkeys. But I think if you consider how people usually draw cartoony turkeys, they're relatively accurate, right? Maybe not necessarily realistic, but they convey the idea. So, I think overall it's a decent exchange. I did leave a sign down here so Nap knows who left him this wonderful bit of life. Hey Nap, you've helped give my island life twice now, despite your own base being in the most desolate of areas. In honor of Thanksgiving, I'm showing my gratitude. Enjoy the new life spread around your desert. Myrrh. So yeah, with that, I think we're even now. I think we've kind of repaid our debt. But there is one more thing that we can do to add a little bit of life to this place before we go. Or rather after we go, technically. Now, inside of these giant turkeys, there's 3 of these guys, 3 that are particularly large compared to the others. There is just a teeny tiny, very basic bit of redstone. And what this redstone does... I hear you, skeleton. What this redstone does is, if I toss an item on top of that pressure plate and then flick that comparator over to subtract mode, which I can do by jumping down onto this cobblestone, it will effectively make a 5-minute timer that will trigger a comparator clock that will dispense a bunch of eggs out of the butt of the turkey. And, I think that that's going to be a good thing. I think that adding more little mobs just wandering around to give just that little bit of extra life is going to help quite a lot. So I wanted to time it out this way, just so it's not kind of just plopped into Nap's face. I would like it to be that he gets here, and then, 3 or 4 minutes later, bam, new life showing up on his doorstep. Fantastic. That's just the kind of generous guy I am, really. I want him to be there to experience the bursting of life in his once desolate biome. So I think that that's going to be really cool. It is going to need to be rushed because I need to get to each of the turkeys and then out of the area because we want to unload the area as quickly as possible. And hopefully Nap is the only one that comes over here. So we'll see. Worst case scenario, someone else drops by and activates it, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and get out of this area ASAP, and then we're going to get back to some of our own stuff. Well, that was an interesting diversion. Hopefully Nap enjoys his new turkey friends, and I'm quite curious to see what his reaction to them is going to be. Hopefully he manages to record it, actually, since he does upload videos of his own as well. If he does do that, it'll probably be this coming Monday that he manages to upload it. So, assuming that Thanksgiving doesn't get in the way. So, if you're curious about what his reaction to his new turkey pals is going to be sure to check that out in a few days. I'll leave his channel link down in the description below. Anyway, we're over here at our villager breeding and trading area again, quite obviously, and in between videos, I've popped over here and tried to fix up some of the little problems that this place still had. So, obviously the most significant problem, the most important thing we can possibly change with this guy, is the hat, right? So, he had a witch hat on for Halloween, we switched that over to a pilgrim hat for Thanksgiving, and I suppose now, by the time you see this, Thanksgiving is over, and he should probably switch on to a Christmas hat. Probably put a Santa hat or something like that on him. Or maybe one of those little headbands that have like the reindeer antlers. That might be fun. I don't know. I'll actually, you know what? I'll put a poll. Go ahead and click the little eye in the top right of your screen and click. Should we choose a Santa hat for this guy or one of those little reindeer antler things? Or something else. Leave a comment if you have a different idea. Anyway, in place of the stairs, moving on, in place of the ugly stairs that we had here before that were temporary, it's just to get down to the lower level, I put in a slime block launcher. Now, this works really well. It's not my original intention. I originally wanted to build a elevator that would like bring the floor up and bring it down and stuff like that, because that would have been really, really cool. But it also would have been really bulky, and it's not something that we really have space for in this area. It would have been very visible, like the bulge from all the redstone and stuff. So that would have been kind of a bummer, because we are going to start getting a better view of this under area once we start branching off of this main path a little bit. So I wanted to go with something a little bit more sleek and kind of compact and nice looking. And I think this is a decent solution. Works well enough, at least if you don't bonk your head. So that's that. Definitely a lot nicer than the staircase we had, and it gives you a bit of a nice view. So there is that. And this area down here, I obviously cleaned up a little bit as well. Still a little bland looking. We may try and detail it a little more and probably replace this andesite with something prettier. Just kind of kept the theme because that was what we went with before, but it's a little bland looking. It does work though. And I also came over here to our villager selection system, and I refined some of the problems we were having with that. So, as you may recall, this light didn't work. This is to indicate that there are adult villagers in there, and they're kind of ready to be pulled out. So, we can check this guy. He's an armorer. Let's just say we don't want him. Off he goes. Next guy gets pulled out. You'll probably remember all of this. It worked perfectly fine before. There was just a couple little problems. One was that light. The other was that there were babies that would get in with the adult villagers. Like, there was nothing separating them, and now there is. And hopefully it works. Okay, so this is the last adult that we had in there. There's no more adults ready to get pulled out. I'll leave him in there just in case he has something good. But yeah, all of this is working now. I'll probably make a little indicator for what this light does. But other than that, I think our entire villager breeding and trading system is pretty well done, at least functionally. There are still a few little things I need to do, like I need to come through and name a bunch of these villagers, like most of these guys, to indicate what trades they have on them. I would also like to put items in these item frames up here to indicate which, trades are associated with which group of villagers. Not entirely sure how that'll work out, but I'd at least like to try it. But other than those two kind of little minimal things, our trading system itself is pretty well done. That does leave one big gap, though. There's one thing that this system is lacking that some more complex systems aren't, and that is resources for trading. So, obviously, when you're trading with villagers, you burn through stuff a lot. And my original intention when I built this thing was that I was going to either pipe all of the items under in like a storage system below it, or a storage system right out here. Like we'd have a building right here full of chests that would get filled up by farms that were up here automatically, right? And that would be fine, right? It would work completely fine. But I honestly think that that's more kind of creating a problem to solve it rather than just solving a problem, right? Because it's kind of still tedious. We're still piping items all over the place, and then I would be over here trading. I would need to run back to the storage system and then back here to trade. It just wouldn't work very well, I don't think. So I think the much better solution is going to be the much simpler one, and that's going to be to build our individual farms out here. So we're going to want stuff like crop farms and a pumpkin farm and sugarcane and stuff like that so that we have plenty of resources to trade with. And then we're going to make quick load sections for our shulker boxes. So basically we'll be able to pop a shulker box in. It'll very quickly fill it up entirely with whatever we want to trade with. And then we can just walk over here, pop all of our shulker boxes down right next to the villager that we are trading with. And then, we're good to go. We can just trade over and over and over again. I think that that is honestly going to be the 100% best way to do this. So I actually want to get started on that process today. I want to start on the first of our farms, at least the first of the new ones. Obviously, we have our iron farm and our mob farm, both of which supply some stuff for trading. But I want to start on some of the crop stuff or something along those lines. And I was thinking about it a little bit, and I guess we should probably continue with our Thanksgiving theme that we have going on today and maybe work on a pumpkin farm. So I don't think we're going to get this 100% done today, but I would like to get at least the area for it set up and maybe even a little bit of a prototype in place. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'll be back with you guys in just a second. So this seems like as good a spot as any for our pumpkin farm and potentially melon farm as well. We'll see. I kind of wish that I had the rest of the farms that are going to be going along this path planned out, just so I could kind of figure out what order I wanted them to be in, but I'm sure it'll work out just fine. For right now, though, pumpkin farm. I actually don't really have a good idea for the design for it. I've been working through the mechanics of pumpkins and melons and kind of trying to come up with the best way to do it. And what happens if you do that is you find out all of the little quirks that it has, and you design around them, and then in the end, you end up just redesigning Ilmango's farm design that he came up with like 2 years ago. Kind of annoying, especially when you're someone like me who wants to avoid using really popular designs like that. So I'm not entirely sure what I'll end up doing with it, but let me actually go ahead and explain what some of those mechanics are, just so you understand what I'm talking about. And it's honestly kind of an interesting subject that not a lot of people realize is happening. So this stem right here, this melon stem, is obviously going to grow a melon eventually in one of the 4 directions. We all know that. But it also has an invisible score associated with it based on its surroundings, and that score determines how likely it is for that melon to spawn on any given tick. So, the things that influence that score are the farmland beneath the crop itself. So if that farmland was hydrated, it would have a slightly higher score. Right now it's not hydrated, so it's a bit lower. It also checks the 8 blocks around the stem, so that'd be these right here. And if those are farmland, it increases the score a little bit, and per block, by the way. They don't all have to be farmland, but it would increase the score a little bit per block of farmland that's around it. And if this was all hydrated, which I suppose I should make it be, so I don't have to... Hello. So I don't have to keep retilling. Doop. If these are all hydrated, as they will eventually be now, then that score will go up even higher. So right now, this melon score is as high as it can be in order to increase its odds of growing. It also checks around it to see other stems of the same type. So in this case, melon stems. And it checks to see if they're in a straight line. If they are in a straight line, it's fine. It doesn't do anything, it just leaves it. If there's another one, though, that's not in the same line as the rest of them, it thinks that there's something wrong. It's like, nope, I don't agree with that, and all of a sudden, the point total that you have for the hydrated farmland around it and under it, that is cut in half. So it's actually lowering your probability of the melon spawning by having the stems kind of grouped up like this. And all of these have that problem. Even this corner one, even though it looks like it's forming 2 straight lines, it only wants to be in one. So if it's forming 2, it doesn't count. Its rates are still cut in half. This one over here, this one on the far right-hand side, that is still checking only the 8 blocks surrounding it. So it only sees this middle stem, and it still thinks it's in a straight line. So this block over here, this stem, technically has a faster growth rate than the rest of these. So now that we destroyed that one, they're all back in a line. All of these are back to being good. Now, there's one other factor that separates the stems of pumpkins and melons from the rest of crops, because all crops that are planted on farmland share the properties I've just covered with you. So if you plant wheat in a row, for example, and then you have carrots next to it, that will grow faster. Both of those crop lines will actually grow faster than if it was a field of only wheat or only carrots. There is one more thing that separates melons and pumpkins, though, and that's how they grow. Obviously, they take up a full block, like they extend onto one of the blocks next to themselves and take that block up. But that only happens if they can actually grow to it. So this middle stem, for example, because there's stems on either side of it, it can't grow to the left or to the right anymore. So effectively, what's happening is half of the time, averaged out, that this stem tries to grow, it will fail. And when it fails, it doesn't immediately try again. It just waits for the next growth tick. So by doing this, by having these stems like this or having blocks around them, you're really, really lowering the rate that these can spawn melons. Especially if you do something like this, which a lot of farms do. You're effectively making it so that the melon has to get 4 times as many ticks in order to grow once, on average. So you don't really want to do that if you're going for maximum efficiency. Now, all of this stuff combines to form kind of an interesting way to fix that. So, what you can do, and what Ilmango does with his design, is he alternates the seeds like this. Bone meal. He alternates the seeds like this. So these two are melons. This one over here is pumpkin. And they alternate like that over a big platform. And what that really leads to is that every single stem can grow in 4 different directions. And as long as you clear out the spots repeatedly by breaking the blocks with pistons, you're going to end up with really, really fast growth rates, especially compared to other farm designs. So we want to take advantage of mechanics like this. But again, I really don't want to just mimic Ilmango's design. Even though it's just a common sense way to do things, and it's the best way to do things, at least as far as I can tell, I really don't want to mimic the same thing. So I'm going to try and come up with my own farm design, probably based on something similar, but maybe a little different. It'll probably arguably be the same concept, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to have to do that in between episodes, though, because we are pretty much out of time today. And, well, we'll see how that goes. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Yay, melons. I hope you enjoyed our little turkey prank and whatnot. Oh, that's another thing with them, by the way. If one melon is grown in between two of them, neither will grow anymore because they're connected to it. So that's another reason you want to break them pretty frequently. Anyway, all of that aside, almost fell down the hole. All of that aside, I'm going to call it a day. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope you enjoyed our turkey prank and our villager new hat and stuff like that. And I'll see you guys next time. And by the way, I'm still doing the new series. Sorry it's not out yet. My plans keep changing, and in fact, they just changed again. So it might be a week or two, or potentially longer. I'm kind of depending on other people at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.